What's up there, guys? This is Chris from VFXON, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a pretty cool looking intro. So this is how it looks. So I was playing around in After Effects with a few different effects, and I came out with something like that. So let's get into After Effects. Alright, so here I have my After Effects opened. Let's go and create a new comp. Let's name this main. I'm using this preset right here, high definition TV, and let's set it to 20 seconds long and click OK. And let's create a new solid. I'm gonna use black color and I'm gonna name this BG for background. And now let's create our text. I'm gonna use a font called Gang Wolfic, and how did I did it? Was it this white? I think it was this white, like that. I think it was like that. Alright, and I'm gonna move it to about middle. Let's see, middle is about here. Alright, and now let's go and find a CC Scatterize effect. Let's put that on here, and let's click that, and I'm gonna make it 340 pixels big. Okay, now we need polar coordinates. Let's add that here. We also need Scatterize, and we also need CC twister. So those are all the effects we need for now. Okay, and I'm gonna start my animation at 1 second. For now I'm gonna turn all of these off, and I'm gonna work only with CC Scatterize for now. Okay, so let's set a keyframe for scatter for right twist and left twist, and we're gonna set the scatter to -73 at this point, and right twist we're gonna set to -165, and the left twist to 236, and multiply that by 2, like so. And basically then we will move forward to about 3rd second, and we're gonna change the scatter to 0, right twist to 0, left twist to 0, and this to 0. So it's basically coming back to a normal text, and this is the animation, how it is going. It is a really cool effect as that by itself. I really do enjoy it, and I've used it before in CC Scatter intro. I think that's the name of it. And you can have a really cool intros using this effect. Now let's press U on our keyboard so we can see our keyframes. Let's go back to here on our first keyframe. So let's go back to our keyframes. Let's go back to our first keyframe and hold Shift, and the time will, or the timeline indicator will stick to the keyframes that you have there. Alright, next we need to turn on polar coordinates, and I'm going to turn off the CC scatter for now. So see, it gives that kind of a weird effect here, and we're gonna adjust that right here, and we're gonna set it to 24%, like so. Then we're also gonna turn on the Scatterize. Oh, set the keyframe right there. Turn on the Scatterize, and we're also gonna click on keyframe by the radius, set that to 0, and on CC Twister we're gonna set this complete to 100%. So let's turn on back the CC Scatterize. Now we're gonna simply click anywhere on your screen with the text tool and leave it as that, because we need one empty text layer. Okay, and here by the CC Twister backside, select empty text layer. So here nothing is going on, and then as the we have to set keyframes here at the end. So we're gonna set that to 0. So you can see that it sort of like flips in. Okay, now we're gonna adjust other keyframes. Polar coordinates, let's set that to 0. Like we did here, completion to 0%. Let's go one frame forward by pressing page down on your keyboard. Oops. Page down. So we're there. And let's set the radius by Scatterize to 107. And then we're gonna move to about here. And we're gonna set it to all the way up as much as we can. Like so. Alright, let's press U on our keyboard so we can see all the keyframes that we have. Okay. Now at about, let's say, here, we're gonna go into transform and set the opacity, then move 2 keyframes forward, and we're gonna set the next keyframe to 0, like that. Now you may be asking, why am I doing this? It's because we will need to duplicate this layer and remove, I think, most of the effects. I don't remember how I did it, but I think I removed most of the effects except for polar coordinates. I think coordinates. I can't spell. Yeah. All right. We're gonna duplicate this layer right here. We're gonna delete CC Twister, polar coordinates, and CC Scatterize. Let's delete all of them, and let's press U on our keyboard. And what we're gonna do is zoom in a bit on the timeline, and let's see. We're gonna remove or do the opposite, like from here. Now, actually, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make it a lot quicker so you can really see that transform. Alright, so we have our full text right here. Maybe just adjust the radius. Alright, we can't adjust that, but I think it's okay. Now we will move forward to making the text explode. Now we're gonna go and search for CC Pixel Poly. We're gonna add that to here, and well, we need to adjust our start time. So I want my start time to be at 4 seconds. So let's go forward here, and you can see at 4th second it starts to, well, crash or destruct or something like that. So we have to adjust the settings. So let's set the force to, we'll set the keyframe and set the force to 19, and the gravity to 0.03. Let's see, what else do we need to adjust? Direction randomness to 30. Speed randomness, that's the same. Grid spacing to 9. And I think the rest is okay. Let's see how it looks. It looks okay. Now let's move one frame forward, and let's set the opacity keyframe right here. Now let's go to let's say somewhere here, and let's set the opacity to Well, not yet, but we're gonna set it to 0. For now, I'm gonna set it to 32. So I see what I'm working with right here. And then let's go to, like, I don't know, like 10 or somewhere right here, and let's set the force to about 1700. So what that does, it basically speeds up like that. Alright, and let's set the opacity right here to 0. So it goes and it disappears slowly. Alright, something like that. I think I did a little mistake right there, because that force is a little bit too much. I'm going to change that to 182, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to duplicate this layer. It's going to be exactly the same, but we're going to adjust a few settings here and there. We need CC Scatterize for this, and we need scatter effect. Okay, so we're gonna change the direction randomness to 29, so they're not at the exact same spot. And in the scatter, we're gonna set that to 7. And in the CC Scatterize, and in scatter, we're gonna set that to, let's say, 170, and randomize every, I guess that's frame. I can't really see it. Yeah, it's randomize every frame. So yeah, this looks pretty cool, except for the fact that it starts already before the effect. So let's press U on our keyboard. And I think the Scatterize effect starts... Wait, why is it... Why both of them are 182 force? This was 19. Do we have the same mistake here? Yeah, so this is 19. Yeah, so mistakes happen. Why... Alright, so just before the pixel poly effect begins, which is here, we're gonna set the opacity right here to 100. Let's go to here 2 frames back, and let's set that to 0. So that way, as the breaking, maybe we need to move that a bit forward to like here. Yeah, I think this is better. So about something like that. And now we're gonna duplicate this layer once more, Control D for that, and we're gonna delete CC Scatter and Scatter Effect, and we're gonna change Texture Polygon to Texture Square, and we're also gonna change Direction Randomness to 26. Let's see, what if we adjust this? I'm gonna solo this. So yeah, if you adjust that, you can see that you have more interesting effect. If I set it back to 0, well, actually, I mean, yeah, you can play around with these settings, but we see they kind of change the position. But I'm gonna leave it at 0 because I kind of don't see that much of a difference. Alright, let's turn all of them together. And this is what we have. Why do we have something going on here in the background? I think that's because of this, isn't it? I think it is. Alright, like that. And that looks good. Okay. And I think we need to get rid of the little particles or little destruction things. So to do that, let's go to about right here and let's set the opacity to 0. Let's go somewhere about like here and let's set that to 100. So here they are and they slowly disappears like that. Alright, as we have nailed down our text, I'm gonna turn it off for now because I need to work on particles. So let's create a new solid and let's name this particles, and I'm gonna select this color right here. So at this step, when you pick a color, that's the color that your particles are gonna be in. Alright, I want this color, so my particles are gonna be in that color. If you want blue color, then select blue. But I'm gonna use this color right here, and then we need an effect called particle world. I'm gonna drag that on there, and now we're gonna change settings. Birth rate to 0.1, and producer, let's see, position Z 0.27, radius 1.155, and radius Y 0.387, radius Z 2.710. I know right now the color doesn't matter, but as we go on it will. So animations, explosion, velocity. I'm sorry if I'm rushing through, but it is really kind of late. What's the time? The time is almost 4 a.m. and I'm kind of tired, so I'm sorry if I'm rushing through, but if you have any questions, please make sure you leave them down below in comments, and I'll try to do my best to answer to all of them. So, yeah, gravity to 0.01, resistance the same, extra the same, that's the same. And now let's go to particles. So particle type, let's change that to, I think it was lens convex. Yes, lens convex. So now you can see that that's the color I picked right there. And birth size, I'm gonna use 0.6. Depth size the same, size variation to like 57, max opacity 61, and let's see. Let's add an effect called CC lens. Gonna close this down, and we also need blur. I'm gonna use Gaussian blur, and I'm gonna set that to maybe 31. And let's now, with the CC lens, we need to adjust a few things here and there. If you did the, well, yeah, just adjust a few things in here and there. I'm going to turn on my text right now, and you will see why. So I'll go to about right. Okay, I think we need to adjust here polar coordinates. Where does it begin? It begins... No, we need to adjust our Scatterize. Because for some reason it is set already. So I need it to be go on about like right here. So I'm gonna set a keyframe right there. It's 0. And let's do that for every single one of these. Scatterize 0, 0, and 0. Alright, we can close all of these down. I'm sorry for making such mistakes, but yeah, like I said, it's late and I'm just kind of trying to do my best right here. Alright, so let's see, it happens about right here. So I'm gonna set the size, and I'm gonna set the keyframe for that, and I'm gonna set the size to 500. Then I'm gonna move like few frames forward. I'm gonna set that to 66, and then I'm gonna move again few frames forward to about like here, and I'm gonna set the size to 500 again. So what that does, it sort of like boosts the lenses, or like make them move really quickly. You see, like they sort of like lags or something like that. And if we add the text effect right there, you can see that it looks good. You see, it kind of lags with that text bump effect or whatnot. So yeah. Alright, now that we have these particles done, we need another particles, but this time I'm going to use a white color. Again, particles. Okay, let's go here back to these particles, and let's copy all of these effects, but make sure that you're on the first keyframe at this exact spot. Copy these effects, Ctrl C, and paste them in here. And now we have particles with the exact same effects going on. But yeah, they're basically above the other particles, and we need to fix that by going into Producer and changing the settings. So I'm going to change this to minus 0.2, so that they're in a different position. This is going to be the same, and this I'm going to change to 2.8855, radius Y to 1.155, and this to 6.2. Alright, so we have particles at different positions right here. Alright, now I'm gonna add lens flare, so new solid lens flare, black background. Alright, now we need to go to Effects, Videocopilot, Optical flares. I don't know why I keep calling it lens flare, but actually it's called optical flare. Alright, let's go to Options and Light, was it? What did I use? No, I think it was motion graphics. Yeah, red triangle. Did I use red triangle? Yeah, I did. So select red triangle, click OK, and now we're gonna adjust a few settings right here. So let's go to the start of our comp, and we're gonna set the position to -38, and here to -6. Then we are gonna go to the very last frame, and we're gonna change the position to 1926, and here to -36. So it isn't staying at the same spot all the time, but it is moving with the composition. Okay, and we're gonna set this center position to 1090, and this is 664. Okay, now what we need is a new camera. Okay, so let's go here and drop down the camera options, or the transform. Transform, and we're gonna set a keyframe at. We need our text back. Oh, we have our text. All right. Oh, we need to go to lens flare and set that on transparent. So let's see our text. Alright, about somewhere here, I'm gonna set a keyframe for position, and I'm gonna change the position to move like until the effect is done here. And I'm going to change that to the position to here to minus 890.7. No, minus 890.7. And this is going to be the same. And as you can see, it doesn't really affect anything. That's because none of our layers are 3D. So we need our lens flare particles to be 3D. So now if we look at the effect, you can see that the actual camera work is doing its job. Alright, now let's add a new solid. Let's call these explosion particles. Okay, and we need particle world again. So drop that in, and now we're going to change settings. So let's move to the actual point of an explosion. Well, these particles are not going to be for the, I don't know how to explain, like for the beginning of the explosion, but for the point where they sort of speed up, which is about, I would say right here is the point that they do speed up. So what we are going to do is we're going to go and set the birth rate to 0. Now actually we're going to leave that for now at this, so we can actually see what we're working with. And now radius Z, or position Z, we're going to change that to minus 0.04. Radius X to 0.315. Radius Y to 0, and radius Z to 0.840. And physics, animation to fractal uni, velocity to 5.77, gravity to minus 0.07, resistance same, extra 0.93, and extra angle the same. What else do we have to change? That's okay. Let's go to particles, and let's see. Line, yes, that's okay. That's okay. And now we have to change the color. So I'm gonna try to pick, like, why can't I pick that? Okay, I'm gonna try to pick like that color, and for the death color I'm gonna pick the white one here. Okay, why can't I pick it? Hello? Why it's not picking up? Alright, now it is. So I'm gonna go with that. And let's see, that's good. Alright, and now let's move few frames forward to here. And we're gonna change, oh no, actually let's click U on our keyboard. Let's go back to this keyframe and set the birth rate to 0. Let's go again those few frames forward, and let's set this to birth rate to 0.5, so that are starting to come in. Then again move few frames forward, and we're gonna set this to again the same. Now let's move a few frames forward, and let's set that back to 0. Alright, so it seems that the explosion is not going on, and that's because the CC pixel poly keyframe is in the wrong place. We need to move it to about right here. So simply move it to that place. And we also need to adjust the last keyframes here on the CC pixel poly. So I'm gonna set that to 2842. I'm gonna copy that and paste over each of these. So let's go and preview this right now. Alright, so you can see that the explosion is going on there, but I think that the small particles are still on, and if I'm not wrong, was this layer? Yes, it was. For some reason, I don't understand why the opacity goes up there from 0, so we need to delete this opacity keyframe so that the small particles are only visible at the beginning. Alright, so we're gonna duplicate this explosion particles. This one, let's see. If we turn it off, I'm gonna go into producer and just add the radius a bit, so that they're not at the same position, each of them. Okay, like that, and I'm gonna duplicate this one more time, but this time I'm gonna change a few settings around. I'm gonna go into producer, and I'm gonna change the position Y to 0.05, position Z to 0.68, radius X to 0.565, radius Y to 0.120, and radius Z to 0.910. Now we're gonna go into physics. I think physics is okay. Yes. Particles, we're gonna change that to white, and maybe just a little darker white, like that. Okay, now let's close that down, and we're gonna add CC Scatterize for this, and we're gonna set the scatter to 23. Okay, like that. We're also going to copy the CC Scatterize and add it to the second one. And I think I'm going to change the depth color to white. Now let's go into physics. We're going to go to direction axis. We're going to set the axis Y to 0.01 and axis Z to 1. Then we're going to go to gravity vector, and we're going to set the gravity Y to 0 and gravity Z to 1. And we're going to do the same for the rest. So physics, direction axis gravity, this to 0.01, this to 1, 0, 1, and once more, 0.01, 1, 0, and 1. Alright. And I'm going to duplicate this layer once more. I'm going to delete CC Scatterize. Go to particles, that's okay. and that's how I think it should look. So this is how it looks, and I would say it looks pretty good. I do like it a lot, and so I'm gonna go and see where. So I'm gonna go to about like here, and I'm gonna add the fade. Or where is it? Well, I'm gonna go and like fade from here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close all of these, add a new solid black, let's call it fade. Now let's go to ellipse tool, double click, invert, mask feather, just a little bit more. Alright, opacity to 0. Set that, and let's move to here. Set opacity to 100, and then expansion. We need to create that here, a keyframe, and a keyframe right here. And then we're gonna just fade it out. Okay, that looks okay. So, pretty much we have recreated the preview intro I did there, and well, pretty much all the animation starts at around like here, and it ends here. So that's that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure you leave them down below in comments. Also, please hit that like button and please subscribe. If you have time, you can also check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And I will see you guys on my next video, where it hopefully won't be that late and I won't be just mumbling and rumbling. I don't know what I'm talking right now. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.